What's going on, my PT peeps? I'm a Walking Dead family. Welcome to the PT channel. I'm One-Eye Bright. You don't know if I'm winking or I'm blinking, but I'm definitely thinking about The Walking Dead Season 9. The mid-season finale was yesterday. I thought it was great. A very good episode, but we're going to talk about the episode a little bit. So obviously, spoiler warning for The Walking Dead Season 9 as a whole, the mid-season finale, and really just some spoilers throughout the series. So if you're worried about spoilers, stop watching now. We're going to talk about a variety of topics about our Walking Dead family. And if you haven't already, please join our Walking Dead family by hitting that subscribe button. If you love The Walking Dead, this is a great channel for that. Obviously, photo credit to AMC and The Walking Dead, giving credit where credit is due. So the bulk of this video I want to talk about is Jesus. Paul Jesus Rovia. He was one of my favorite characters in the comic, and he still is. Was he underutilized for the TV show is a big question. A big topic of discussion. I love these pictures right here going back to season 6. It was awesome because this character came around. Oh man, we got badass Jesus. He's going to do some martial arts, kick some savior's butt. He's going to have the interactions with Negan and this and that. And he really didn't have a lot of the big comic parts that I was hoping for to happen on the show. Negan, Lucille, you know what I'm talking about if you read the comics. But comic Jesus and show Jesus are definitely different. Now, if you watch the mid-season finale, you know that this Jesus is gone. He was killed by a whisper. And it sucks, but I can totally understand the writing. Jesus is a character that is alive in the comics today. Season 9 is like the remix season. So many things are different as of season 7, 8, and 9. Major differences for the show and the comics. And it's pretty cool that they do remixes. It's probably budget things and story driven, and just a comic versus a show is very different. Like the introduction of Jesus. The first time you meet him, Daryl's not there, Rick's not there. It's Michonne and Abraham, I believe, is when you meet Jesus for the first time in the comics. He does beat him up, stay around, but there's no Truck, there's no Daryl, there's no Rick. But Jesus was a mediator at Hilltop. He became the leader. And were people buying that? Not really. He didn't want to be the leader, but no one ran against him. So ultimately, he had to become the leader, the promise he made to Maggie. But ultimately, Jesus is gone. Is it going to hurt the show? Not really. It's not a major loss like Rick or Maggie or Carl, even in a lot of people's eyes. But the fact that Jesus was killed off makes sense to me. But I kind of like Paul Rovia, and especially after meeting Tom Payne, the actor in real life, you kind of like the character a little bit more. Like Ross Marquand, really cool guy. And if you think about it, someone kind of had to die with the introduction of the Whispers. I thought it was going to be Rick. I'll tell you about that theory later in the video. But so we have Daryl, Aaron, Eugene, Jesus, Magna, Yumiko, and Michonne all involved with the Whispers. You know Eugene's not going to die because Eugene gets in these situations and his predicaments cause danger for other people. If you know the comics, you know that's definitely how they write Eugene. Eugene's kind of a coward, even though he's stepping it up more and more, but he finds himself in situations that he needs help. And out of the characters that were there, Jesus makes the most sense to get killed off. You're not going to kill Daryl off. Aaron is a big part of the show, so I guess it's between Jesus and Aaron who was going to die. Magna's not going to die, Yumiko's not going to die, and Michonne's definitely not going to die. We just met Magna and Yumiko, so they are not going to get killed off, and Michonne and Daryl are definitely not going to get killed off. But why not Aaron? Could it have been Aaron or Jesus? What do you think? Would you rather have Aaron die or Jesus die? I think the fact that Jesus dying is way more impactful than Aaron, especially for the fact that Jesus was the leader of the Hilltop. He was teaching Aaron some martial arts. He was becoming more of a character for the show that you could kind of get behind. And I just think the more impactful death would be Jesus. You can disagree. There's nothing wrong with that. Just let me know your thoughts. Would you think a more impactful death would be Aaron or Jesus? What do you think between the two, Aaron or Jesus? But it just kind of sucks because Aaron was learning some martial arts from Jesus, and Jesus was getting to use his martial arts. We saw it a little bit in season 6 and in season 7, but overall, we didn't get the big moments that I was hoping for over the series. But he's come in high flying and twists and turns, and he's got his sword and his man bun and his aluminum foil armor, like somebody was saying. But I have to admit, he went out in an epic way. You're never going to forget how Jesus died. That's for sure. Just like you're not going to forget how Herschel died and big moments of the show. But the moment when Jesus swung and that whisper ducked, you were like, oh, damn, snap, whoo, and then stabbed. It was like, okay, because Jesus is killing a walker, and then he just swings to cut the walker's head. But that whisperer ducked and then stabbed, and Jesus didn't know what hit him. He didn't have any armor in the back, so it went through his back, through his heart, and came through, and he was bleeding out for sure. But it was kind of crazy to think that badass martial arts Jesus got killed by a whisper. But he didn't think that was a whisper. He didn't know it was a person. He probably would have treaded way more lightly if he knew it was a threat and a person could just duck down, because the walkers would just be like, and just walking through. And they never ducked before. This whisper came out of nowhere. He ended up getting killed by Daryl. It wasn't Alpha. It wasn't Beta. It wasn't anybody of significance besides the whisper that killed Jesus. We don't know this guy's name, and it doesn't matter. But when Rick was going to be rumored to be done this season, and then the rumors were going to be the first 5 episodes and the spoilers came out, I thought that he would introduce the whispers. His passing or disappearance, or if he was getting killed off, would be with Rick Grimes. Kind of the same situation like this. He would find himself in a situation, get stabbed or get wounded, and then maybe Beta throws him into the water and he still can get off, get carted off by the helicopter. He still lives, but the introduction of the whispers would have been with Rick versus Jesus. In a similar fashion, it would have been badass if Rick got stabbed and Beta came out of nowhere and just picked him up and then threw him into the water or something. You know, kind of like an 80s Arnold Schwarzenegger movie where you know the character's going to live because you didn't see him die, or what happened in Black Panther. Similar situation. But Rick gets stabbed, he's wounded, Daryl and the rest of the crew come to the savior, but Beta comes out of nowhere. No one sees him and he's fighting Rick, and Rick does this, but up somehow Rick gets knocked into the water. The helicopter can still come and save him and take him away. That would have been pretty awesome, but it didn't happen. Either way, Rick is gone to come back in the movies, and they left his story open-ended. And we got a time jump, and you know the time jump's really for older Judith, but the Whisperers are here, and it was really awesome. It was really creepy and something that really needed to happen on the show. The horror aspect of The Walking Dead hasn't been there for a long time. When those Whisperers are in the graveyard and they're coming running around at you, it was pretty creepy. It was pretty awesome. It was one of those things that you're like, all right, this is kind of a horror kind of feel to it. That's a Whisperer that killed Jesus and then got an arrow to the head, but it was too late. So I'm okay with Jesus being killed off because it's memorable. It's for the story. There's rumors that Tom Payne wanted to leave the show, but as of The Talking Dead last night, Tom Payne was okay with it. He's like, yeah, I got the call from Angela Kang, and she told him what was going to happen, and he goes out in a fighting epic way that you'll never forget. You're definitely never going to forget the introduction of the Whisperers to the show, killing Jesus. I'm excited for the future of the show. I think they did a great job in this season so far. The mid-season finale sets up the second half of season 9, and that's what they're supposed to do. You're supposed to lead in. It's supposed to be like bookends. The initial start, some episodes before, mid-season finale, mid-season premiere, leading up to the second half. The fireworks, the firecrackers were definitely a callback to me with Jesus for the first time, when Jesus, Daryl, and Rick met for the first time. But I'm never going to forget Jesus as a character on The Walking Dead. He still lives on in the comic, and it's pretty cool. You have the comic connection with Jesus on the show, and a lot of people are wondering, is he going to be with Aaron? And maybe he was, but we won't see that continue on because Jesus is gone. The last time we saw the group, they were surrounded by the Whisperers in the graveyard. I'm sure that's going to be where it picks up in episode 909. Negan has escaped. He's going to be out and about. What's in store for the second half of season 9? Hopefully a great story, continuing the great story that we're seeing in the first half of season 9. To me, The Walking Dead is back. I'm excited like I haven't been excited for The Walking Dead in a long time. I think they did a great job telling the story, and Jesus' death is impactful. He was probably the best fighter of all the communities. Michonne's pretty good, Daryl's scrappy, but I think Jesus was the best fighter, and if the Whisperers killed him, man, they are a force to be reckoned with. So let me know your thoughts. Post your comments below, guys. Like, share, subscribe if you haven't already. And remember, guys, with hard work, dedication, belief, and sacrifice, you can truly achieve your goals. Believe in yourself. You can do it. And for those interested in my Zombie Apocalypse book series, they're right there available online. And tell them, Daryl.
Yo, we love you guys. Honestly, thank you.